Daniel, obviously, if we're results oriented here, it's a disappointing outcome for you. So let's be more process oriented. How would you sum up how you played in round 1 of High Stakes Duel 2?
Well, yeah. Well, obviously the deep stack play, things went really, really well. Like, sort of the strategy that I thought was going to be most effective seemed to be working quite well. And then I did, because I was not playing, game theory optimal approach. I was, trying to play exploitative and take advantage of spots that I thought were worthwhile. But I think with short chips, when both he was short and when I was short, I took the exploits to far too much of an extreme in spots, and I made one mistake. Either the graphic was wrong, or I counted my chips wrong, because I folded a Jack 10, and if the graphic was right or whatever, I had like 2.5, 3 big blinds left. So looking back, I would of course like to play that. But I think my head was a little spinning too, just because you have complete control of the match. It's almost over. And then, we get the 10-5 of clubs hand come up. Where he has Jack, Queen 6 of clubs. All right, we got a double. And then from there, the rivers were not kind. And all the big pots we played were basically like me betting turn, him calling, and the river card improving his hand. Like it was the 8-10. I had an ace, he had an 8, each river, 2 pair. Then, of course, the king deuce of clubs hand was key, where I had kings in a flush draw. He had a runner straight, and then the king 9 of diamonds against the 9-6 of hearts. So some key pots where, they're like there's nothing you can do about those except, play them well in the river. So that part was unfortunate. But other than that, I felt like I navigated well. Like there was a lot of traps that were set that I didn't fall into. But yeah, like once the blinds get high, that my goal is to go into the end game with a lead or have it done by the end game. Because then by the end game, I mean, 2 competent players, you're kind of like flipping coins at that point.
Daniel, let me ask you about the watching it, the pocket 9s hand for Phil. You had 6-4 suited, flop trips. If you could go back, would you have played that hand any differently? From a viewer's perspective, it felt like that was going to be the knockout blow. This thing's going to be over. But I believe you just called rather than raised. And walk us through that moment.
I think, Daniel, before you do, why don't we play it back?
Yeah, can we pull it up?
Why don't
Let's
we
pull
pull
up
it
the
up
hand. Let's
and
do
play
it
it back for you guys to watch, and then Daniel and Phil,
why don't you pull back Daniel's analysis of the hand too? That was pretty good.
6-4 suited for Negs. I mean, let's go. Hellmuth with the limp, by the way. There we go. And we have the min sort of click up.
37 total.
So unorthodox, so weird. Awkward stack depth, by the way,
total.
50 BBs effective roughly. So I don't know. We have the limp just south of 4x from Negs, and then the kind of min click up from Phil, and a very playable one from Negs. So here we go.
And I think Daniel is very comfortable with Phil's range in this spot. I think he has a real sense that Phil is working the over pairs.
Ollie, this could be a wrap. I mean, this really could be it.
4,000.
Meaning just it's going in at some point. The slow play here from Negs, I'm not.
Why not just get him to commit the rest?
Right.
I mean, here we are with hearts now.
But off we go. Let's see.
Check.
That's the thing. Yeah. Maybe like.
And when Daniel check calls this texture,
and listen, Nick, SPR stacked to pot ratio less than the pot here. It comes with the cuteness.
Oh, this is
call
tortuous.
3 4s.
Kind of weird. Maybe could have gotten it in on the flop, but wow.
Stand by.
Shows it.
9. Good hand.
This is main reactor is.
You know, you might win this fucking match, but I'll tell you what, I fucking hate the way you played. You played so fucking bad.
At least now you can say so.
You played so fucking bad. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you putting 3,700 in against with 4-6 against me?
I put 2,200 in.
How do you get yourself trapped?
In case you need it, if you want to throw in the towel, it's for you if you want.
Oh.
I mean, you fucking, what you've done to me is criminal.
Should I do it? Because Rocky didn't do it, and freaking Creed was getting crushed. And he didn't do it, and Creed died. And I don't want to see bad things happen to my buddy. I'll just hold it here.
All right, Daniel, so you heard Phil's thoughts right then and there. You heard Nick Schulman's thoughts as we play that hand back. Take us through your thoughts during that hand.
Well, first and foremost, I think karma, if that's a real thing, that certainly bit me in the ass. Fucking pulling up the towel, right? And just lose the match, right? You're like, oh, what a donkey. I really went for it. I was going for like the jugular there. But as far as the hand goes, I actually did a video breakdown of this hand because I thought there was something interesting about it. Because everyone, I think what people do when they watch a poker hand is they play armchair quarterback, and they say, well, look, if you did this, it would have worked, right? But they're all assuming that they know Phil has pocket nines here, right? So here's what I know about Phil. In this spot, Phil's going to have a strong hand. He's going to have some overpairs, and he's going to have some ace, king, ace, queen as well. Maybe some other aces, and maybe some bluffs as well, okay? So against this range, I'm comfortable on a 4-4-3 flop, right? If I check raise, Phil's good enough. He's not just going to go all in with ace high. He's going to fold a lot of his ace highs, which I don't mind him calling with because he's drawing completely dead. And if he has overpairs, he's probably going to bet them himself for the most part, right? So I think also it's important to protect your range in these spots where if you're just check raising with your nutted hands and check calling with the mediocre hands, you become quite easy to play against. So having a hand like that in my check call range I thought was important. Now Phil makes a good check on the turn, a heart came, which hurts me, right? Because it makes my hand like less powerful in a lot of ways because he's got more to worry about. He's got flushes to worry about and stuff like that. Now when the river card comes a 5 after he's checked back, his most likely hand, right? If you break down his range, he's got pairs, pocket pairs, maybe some 7s, some 6s, some 9s, some 10s, some aces, some kings. But he's also got a lot of ace high hands, right? And Phil's a good enough player that with just 2 9s for his last chips for 12K, he's capable of saying, listen, what do I beat? I only beat a bluff. Daniel could have a straight here because the board was straight. He could have a flush here. He could have a 4 here. There's so many hands I could have, right? So if I go all in here, you guys, you underestimate Phil in thinking that he can't fold there. I believe that he can fold. Not for 5K though, right? When I make a blocker bet, that includes a lot more hands I can profitably bet that size for, right? Because I could actually bet any pair there for 1/3 pot, right? And, it'd be fine. But to jam, you don't necessarily want to jam with like 2 7s necessarily. So so if I had to go back, I mean, obviously everyone's like, oh, you misplayed it because you didn't. That's not how poker works, right? Based on the construction of his range in that spot and based on what my thought process of what he likely had, it made sense, I think, in the long run to just check call there. And I would check raise some of the time, but not in that case in that spot against Phil. I didn't think it made sense. So if I had to do it over again, I got bad news for you. I would do the same thing. I would.
Hey guys, this is No Gamble, No Future, some sports betting, some fantasy, and Brent, some pure degenerates.
Absolute degenerates. Are we sharp? No. Are we dull? No. You gotta risk it to get the biscuit.